like, I have some overlap with other people, of course I do, but with most people, I do not. Like, I have my viewers, and that's it, and really, there's nobody else really, I mean, like, that's even, like, I mean, Kai obviously is really popular, right? And there's, like, a couple of other people, but, like, it's at least in my circle that streams and around my time slot. There's really nobody that's even, like, really that close. And I think that's it. And the reason why, honestly, is because of YouTube. It's because of YouTube and other platforms. That's the big reason. And you know, I gotta do more. I gotta do more stuff on Instagram. That's the other thing. We gotta do more on Instagram and get to work over there. So yeah, I did see that post from him, and I think he's a moron. And if he doesn't understand the reason why it's different, I don't really know what to tell him. Trump's live, is it finally happening? Oh, here we go.
We're going to have it at the highest level. I want to thank Secretary Hegseth, who's been fantastic, and Secretary Rubio, and Space Force Vice Chief of Space Operations, General Mike Gutlein. I also want to recognize Senators Dan Sullivan, Kevin Kramer, and Jim Banks, fantastic senators, great talents, great political talents, and people that love our country. In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack.
Oh, shit.
And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also.
Didn't Canada also drop their tariffs?
Help Canada the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel.
Bro, he watched Independence Day.
It was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that. But including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles, all of them will be knocked out of the air.
The battle starts
we will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it, you're shooting bullets out of the air. I'm also pleased to report that the One Big Beautiful Bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome. Now construction get underway. That's the initial sort of a down deposit. And we have probably we're talking about $175 billion total cost completed. This afternoon, I'm also announcing that I will appoint very important General Gutlein to lead the ambitious new effort as the direct reporting program manager for the Golden Dome. Very talented man, and I'm very honored. And the one that helped we created Space Force. Space Force has turned out to be a tremendous success. We were third in space, and now we're #1 in space by a lot. It's not even close. And Mike is a 4-star Space Force General, the recipient of the Distinguished Service Medal, one of the most respected people in the world having to do with defense. You know, we have offense and we have defense, but he's good enough.
This is real firepower!
An unmatched background in missile warning technology and defense procurement. General Gutlein also knows that we need to move fast. No one is more qualified for this job. Everybody, this was a universal acceptance of General Gutlein. Everybody that knows him and knows everybody else, he said there's only one man for the job, so I have a feeling we have the right guy. And now I'd like to invite Secretary Hegseth and the General to please say a few words and describe the system a little bit.
All right.
And we appreciate you being here in the press.
Damn, look at that photo.
Fair over the last period.
You can see the U.S. and there's the dome.
I won't make
so much more exciting the other way.
Oh, we're protecting Mexico too.
We have very high poll numbers, the highest we've ever had. And I think we're doing a job. We had a tremendous trip to the Middle East, as you know. It was a really amazing trip. And now I came home, and this is the one I was really looking forward to this day, because this is very important for the success and even survival of our country. We're doing well out there, so this is something that goes a long way toward the survival of this great country. And as I said, we'll be discussing again, and we'll see if we can be a part of it. It sort of makes sense. That's what I was talking about. Automatic sense. And it won't be very difficult to do, but they'll pay their fair share. Thank you very much, everybody, and be careful.
Mr. President, add this to the long and growing list of promises made and promises kept. Ultimately, this right here, the Golden Dome for America, is game-changing. It's a generational investment in America and Americans. Mr. President, you said we're going to secure our southern border and get 100% operational control after the previous administration allowed inundation of people around the world. President Reagan 40 years ago passed the vision board. Technology wasn't there. Now it is, and you're following the through today. We will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear. And it's not lost on me, sir, also that you had the vision to start the Space Force. And here we are, when others said we didn't, here we are in the Oval Office, one of the leaders of the Space Force, leading the charge, putting in place the game-changing Golden Dome for America. So, sir, it's an honor to be a part of this bold initiative. We're going to get to work on it. We have been signing executive order on it. We also introduced Stargate. Fast forward on this. We're here on this day. We're stop in delivering day one which is something we charge us with doing, and we'll keep going until it starts.
Thank you, Chief. Keith's doing a great job, by the way. Thank you very much.
General President Day is a great day for the nation. We double down on protection of the home.
All right, Baldy, what's
As
up?
you're aware, our adversaries have become very capable and very intent on holding the homeland at risk. While we have been focused on keeping the peace overseas, our adversaries have been quickly modernizing their nuclear forces, building out ballistic missiles capable of hosting multiple warheads, building out hypersonic missiles capable of attacking the United States within an hour, traveling at 6,000 miles an hour, building cruise missiles that can navigate around our radar and our defenses, building submarines that can sneak up on our shores, and worse yet, building space weapons. It is time that we change that equation and start doubling down on the protection of the homeland. Golden Dome is a bold and aggressive approach to hurry up and protect the homeland from our adversaries. We owe it to our children and our children's children to protect them and afford them a quality of life that we have all grown up enjoying.
So the keeper of the Golden Dome is Bald?
I greatly appreciate your trust in me and your nomination in me and your trust in the team.
He is the Golden Dome.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
And also, very importantly, it's we're the only ones that have this. We call it super technology. Nobody else has it, and nobody else has really near what we have. So this is a very exciting project. This is something that will, the generals are close to 100% protection. So it's something we need. And everything's going to be made in the USA. So it's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. And I just noticed you standing there behind you is a very important document, Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I heard about that.
For many decades under this era, and Walt's pictures of Abraham Lincoln. You see, that was the original Abraham Lincoln, the original Washington.
The real guy.
Does everybody know who the middle was? General Grant. And so it's very exciting. You look over here.
The guy won the Civil War.
You have Thomas Jefferson. That's Monroe from the Monroe document. And
The OGs,
you know who that is, right? Andrew Jackson. So we have a lot of very exciting pictures.
$20 bill guy.
The other side like that. Some great presidents and great people of many of these because people were asking about, and many of them, almost all of them, were in the vaults.
Yeah.
When you're by, generally in the vaults downstairs.
By the way, what's this about?
Places become really different when you first start January. Somewhere in the vaults for over 100 years. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Jim Banks, great congressman, and now he's a great senator from Indiana. and you might say a few words.
Well, your legacy with Space Force, Mr. President, is already big, but the Golden Dome is going to be an even bigger legacy for our country. And Indiana is going to the space satellites that were made in Fort Wayne, Indiana by L3 Harris. All the work done at Crane Navy Base in southern Indiana is going to be a big part of it. And Hoosiers are very proud of that. We're proud of you. Thank you very much.
It'll be a big factor. Congratulations, you won that race by a lot. That wasn't even a contest, right?
Thanks to you and all your support.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead. This is Senator Kramer. He's one of our best. Can't get any better. Go ahead.
Well, you're very nice, Mr. President, and thanks for this. And I remember the day in your first term when you called me. I was brand new being president and said, you said, I want to have a space force to lead the effort in the Senate Armed Services Committee. And I felt so proud to show it to me and only find out later no one else could do it. But I know it worked out. Because North Dakota contributed that
This is real firepower!
the Homeland Security. And this is just one more.
Yeah.
So thanks for this and for allowing me to something. And by the way, let me just add my strong endorsement to the role in leading this. I don't know anybody better, for sure, better equipped to do it than he is.
Everybody said that.
Yeah.
I'll get to this afterwards.
Dan Sullivan, Alaska, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for your continued leadership on missile defense. We were talking earlier how in 2019 at the Pentagon, you laid out a speech about the Missile Defense Review that had all these principles on missile defense that you articulated then during your first term, and now the Golden Dome is all of that. So you're continuing to lead. We really appreciate it. The Congress is stepping up, as you mentioned right now in the budget reconciliation bill, $25 billion for the Golden Dome. And what Senator Kramer and Senator Banks and I and many others, we're working on our, and I briefed you on this before, sir, on our Golden Dome Act, which we think will have in terms of legislation that can help cement what you're doing right here, getting the Congress behind it, not just with the funding, but with authorizations. So we're working closely with Secretary Hegseth, General Gutlein, the whole team. So we're very honored to be here, sir. And, Alaska is the cornerstone of missile defense right now in terms of ground-based missile interceptors, in terms of radar systems, track incoming missiles. So my state is honored to continue to play a critical role in all of this and build on it.
They'll be coming in
We're
30
really excited to be
seconds.
here. Thank you.
Stay strong.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great. Any questions?
Mr. President, you had mentioned at the beginning of your remarks that this was a campaign promise of yours. Have military commanders asked for this system specifically? Because NORAD had said previously that the current system was adequate. So what does this get the United States? Is it
System is adequate. There really is no current system. We have certain areas of missiles and certain missile defense, but there's no system. We just have some very capable weapons. Hopefully we never have to use capable weapons. But this is
Talking about lasers.
there's never been something that's going to be very protected. Rest assured there'll be nothing like this. Nobody else is capable of building it.
Did they ask you to do this?
Right. Well, let me put it differently. I suggested it, and they all said, "We love your idea, sir." That's the way it's got to be, right? But they want it, and they wanted it badly once it was suggested. I don't know if they ever thought they would be lucky enough to have it.
Be right
But we were able to get it done, and we have all the funding, so pretty much tucked away. I think most people feel it's very important to have. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you first announced this idea, critics said it would be prohibitively expensive, potentially ineffective, and it could trigger an arms race in space. What do you say to those critics about
About as close to perfect as you can have in terms of real production. I told you Canada wants to be a part of it, which would be, fairly small expansion. I think we'll work with them on pricing. They know about it very much. They've asked to be a part of it. They've asked us to be a part of it. I think it's something that is great. We can afford to do it. We can afford to do it. We took $5.1 billion for this in the Middle East. And when you think about it, this is a tiny fraction of that. But we make it all here. We're going to make it all here. We have I will tell you, an adversary, a very big adversary, told me the most brilliant people in the world are Silicon Valley. He said, we cannot duplicate, and we can't. This was somebody that I won't tell you who it is, but you'd be amazed. We have the most brilliant minds in the world doing this kind of thing, the equipment.
It was Sam Altman who said that.
But he said that we just can't duplicate what you have there in Silicon Valley. We never have been able to, and there's a very strong group of people and very strong minds, but they can't. So we have things that nobody else can have. You see what we've done up in Israel, and you probably wouldn't have an Israel. They launched probably 500 missiles altogether, and I think one half of the missile got through, and I was only falling around this scrap now. It's pretty amazing. This is in terms of technology, far advanced from that system.
And just to follow up on the adversaries, have you addressed Russia's venture into space with a space-based nuclear weapon and told Putin to stop in your conversations with him?
We haven't discussed it, but at the right time.
Space-based nuclear weapon?
Keeping Americans, with the goal of keeping Americans safe.
Plasma?
About the timeline, how long will this take you?
We think it's going to be about 3 years.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And we'll have a big phase.
He said that.
Starting immediately with $25 billion. It will cost about $175 billion to complete it. So we think in 2.5 to 3 years. Your powers are mine! It's easy when we say we're going to save everyone's lives. In a crazy world, it seems to be very easy to get. Yeah, we've already spoken to everybody we have to speak to. Everybody's I would say, Dan, everybody's in line here.
Yes, sir. $25 billion is a down payment in the budget reconciliation bill right now.
Yeah. So I think people actually love it.
Mr. President, all Russia,
Feeling fantastic.
We are in this together.
Oh, we going for the Adolf mode? Uh-oh.
And the second, sorry if I may, Zelensky, Volodymyr Zelensky said that he's hoping for you to impose new sanctions on Russia. Are you considering that?
Well, that's going to be my determination. That's going to be another
Border defense? Yeah, probably.
We'll see how Russia behaves. We see what's going to happen. You know, we have a pretty critical time. I had a talk yesterday for 2.5 hours with President Putin, as you know. I also spoke to all of the European, to many of them leaders, but they were representing the whole.
These squids reek of desperation anymore.
Thanks, Mr. President. What countries are asking for
I'll let you mention that. You can mention some of yours from Alaska's involved, and Alaska's a big part of it because location is so first line. And since Kevin will tell you that his state's involved, but honestly, Georgia's going to be very big. Florida is going to be very big. They're all going to be very big. Jim, you want to talk about Indiana?
In Fort Wayne, Indiana, where
What the fuck are you guys doing? You're so
Free Harris. Across the board, we're the top manufacturing state in the country. By the way, the tariffs have been very good for auto manufacturing in Indiana.
Glazing.
For the defense industry in my state. There's so much money involved. There's a lot of companies involved.
You might also say we're talking about the tariffs. Well, here's some of the biggest auto plants in the world moving into Indiana, only for one reason, maybe two reasons, November 5th and the tariffs. But the tariffs have driven tremendous business into this country. But one of the biggest in the world.
Honda Civics. Your powers are mine! GM added jobs. Eli Lilly getting pharmaceutical manufacturing from China to the United States, $27 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Our country was cold as ice a year ago, and now we have the hottest country in the world. This is the hottest country in the world. Nobody even close.
Wow.
Even this last trip that I made.
Yeah, it was like 95 degrees today, actually.
9 problems, we went from being laughed at all over the world, and now we're the hottest country in the world by far. Dan, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I think when you look at the system that you've laid out, it's an idea in your executive order to play and
Instead of asking the press,
so you
you
have
just
initial ground-based receptors, which are made by Senator Gates. A lot of
You laughed at Donnie
smart and they can. But the beauty of your vision, Mr. President, is that it's layered, it's open architecture, and it goes up into space. So this is going to be some of the new defense tech companies that are very interested in it and can bring missile defense at a cost that I don't think, you said it, Mr. President, is unimaginable in terms of how much lower the cost is. So it's all across the board in terms of companies. Senator Kramer and I just met with a bunch from last year. You said it earlier, Mr. President, our technology sector is head and shoulders above any other place in the world, and they're going to be a key part of it. I think that's why they're so excited.
Mr. President, I didn't want to think that you alluded to this. The new autonomous space-age defense ecosystem is more about Silicon Valley than it is about big metal, right? And so what's exciting about this is it makes it available to everybody to participate, to compete, big companies, mid-sized companies, small companies, but General Goodline is the perfect person again to sort all that out because he understands how it has to work together ultimately.
And Pete, they work close with you. We have been discussing this for a long time. Peter and I used to discuss it when I was going to go on a show. And he did very well. Tremendous ratings, but all he wanted to talk about was the military. He didn't want to talk about anything else. We used to talk about this. How about you closing it out?
Yes, sir. I mean, like I said, without your vision, willing to say and do things when other people wanted to look away and pretend like the threat didn't exist, or be focused on foreign adventurism and some other threat that we've been told is affecting us. When you look at the data from Russia, Communist Chinese, and other, and their capabilities, what they're trying to do to supersede us and threaten us, how do we find the best innovators, the best military leaders, the best companies, tech companies? You mentioned open architecture. That's exactly right. So multiple companies can serve as a layer of defense. So if you miss that one, you can catch it at the next. And it integrates existing technologies that can speak to each other, so it moves quickly, while also investing in range of space. So our enemies, our adversaries, are going to pay a lot of attention, just like they have the President from day to day. So we're defending defending their people. It's going to benefit my kids, all of ours in this room. So thank you for your leadership. We're going to charge it as fast as we can.
Great job, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President.
No cuts. No cuts.
Are they still asking about that shit? Oh my god. They just trying to keep rumors on high alert.
And President Trump announcing along with Secretary Kramer and Sullivan,
they're trying to dial
they
them
were
up.
announcing for the Golden Dome, which was a vision of President Ronald Reagan's roughly 40 years ago.
So we have the Golden Dome, the gold cards, the golden age of America. What else is gold? Bro, the whole thing is now, I guess. Wow. This will end up just like the wall, unfinished and a bullshit talking point. I don't know. Maybe it will be, maybe not. I mean, there's other people that have built walls before. I've heard that Israel has a dome, and it seems like it works usually. And so maybe it's a good idea. I don't know. I mean, I could see it being like a good investment if it means that you can spend less money on having active. The logic of it, I think, works, right? Where it's like you have this this force field effectively, right? It's not, but just, as a metaphor, that now you need less time that you need to spend actively watching it, right? So if you have a fence, you don't need as many guards because you've got the fence that's going to stop at least some of them. So if it's something that and also I don't even think this is wishful thinking. I don't even think this is going to happen. But theoretically this would be good, right? I mean, it would be theoretically good. You already have that, right? Well, I mean, not the way that they have it, right? I mean, obviously not the same way. Yeah, you can AFK missile defense. Yeah, clearly that's what the goal is, right? That's what the mindset is. No, the wall will be finished after one big beautiful bill passes. The funding is in the bill. Yeah, that bill's not going to pass. Sorry to say, it's not going to happen. There's too many different things in the bill. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to spread it out. It's a huge fucking. I think a tactical errors. It's too big there's too many things
The battle
happening,
starts in
and
5,
bills need to be
4,
smaller.
3,
Wrong? Okay,
2,
yeah, I think
1.
that they're not going to pass it
All you need to do
unless
is capture
they
the mission
have
area.
enough to
Got it?
just completely do it unilaterally without having to rely on any degree of cooperation. That's number one. Or the other way that they pass it is if they just straight up have to cut it up into like 4 or 5 different pieces, which is what I think they're probably going to have to do. And, or at least 2 or 3 different pieces. That's probably what will happen. And size doesn't matter. Oh, that's what people say, but it turns out in a lot of cases it does. So yeah, there you go. They should just legalize weed and tax it. Well, they do in a lot of places. Yeah, what are you talking about? That's exactly what happened. And yeah, anyway, let's go back. Yeah, I mean, in general, like the Space Force, everything like that, it's kind of hard to say, you know, like really where this is going. But I find it to be pretty fucking interesting. I'll
I
definitely
won't
tell you
make
that.
the same mistakes again. You're not going anywhere.
Oh, we're gonna watch this. There was an interview done about Xbox. He's the president of Xbox. Here we go.
Please welcome to the stage Sarah Bond, president of Xbox at Microsoft, for conversation with Bloomberg's Tina Bass.
We are undefeatable.
Crack the whip!
Reborn from the chaos.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. So I want to start talking about the industry in general.
I am ready to
You
put
and
on a
Microsoft
show.
CEO Phil Spencer have been raising kind of the alarm that
under
the
my
gaming industry is just not progressive, and there's a real need to figure out how to reverse that. What's causing this issue, and how does Xbox turn it around?
Us against the
One of
world.
the reasons why the video game industry is growing is because there's a massive boom in video games and COVID. And as the world isn't locked inside all the time, even growth, like if you're growing at 10% every year, but you have a 50% growth that falls off, it's going to look like you're not growing.
Yeah, you know, the last year or so,
Balancing out, yes, balancing out.
video games, largely the industry has been flat. And even in 2023, we saw just some tremendous releases, tremendously groundbreaking games, but still, the growth didn't follow all of that.
We're not going to get any examples, are we? Why don't we get some fucking examples? Which game stuff? Like what? Actually, you know what? Let's look at Xbox releases. We have 3 big Xbox releases last year. Hi-Fi Rush, which did extremely well, but it didn't really have a huge player base, like not really compared to like other games. Starfield, poster child of aggressive mediocrity. And then number 3 would be Redfall. Same thing.
Thanks.
So yeah, if you work at Xbox, this is absolutely the way that you're gonna feel.
You know, a lot of that's related to our need to bring new players in, making them accessible. All of that has been happening at the same time that the cost associated with making beautiful AAA blockbuster games is going up at a time.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe that's not the way that you should do things? That you don't need to make these AAA blockbuster games? Maybe that's not the way. Because like maybe that's really where the issue is. And this is the problem, right? It's like you're blaming the audience, you're blaming the market. Maybe it's your process. Maybe the process is fundamentally flawed.
It takes to make
It is. Then stop making
so
them
much
that
of
way.
our focus
Stop doing it that way.
about how we do things to help people all up.
Except for
I'm ready to put on a show.
You know.
Is there through this moment of transition. Related to some of the trends you're identifying.
I'm not really sure what that. I don't know what you just said, but
This is real
yeah, sure. But okay.
You know, earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4
I won't
game
make the
studios.
same mistakes
I know you're
again.
not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft?
Here, I'll give the real answer. Gamers shouldn't give a fuck about it because we're just gonna make other games. It's not your job to care about the studios. Just buy the games if they're good. Don't buy them if they're bad. It's that simple. No gamer will give a shit. That's the real answer. You can't say that on TV, but that's the answer.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Always extraordinarily
like the spirit of the city.
hard when you make decisions like that.
Us against the world.
I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry. When we look at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced...
Yeah, she's saying they didn't make enough money. I think that's what she's saying. That's basically it. She's saying that, like, even whenever she's like, well, we want them to be successful even whenever the industry isn't growing, and the implication is that they were not. That's what I think she's saying.
Earlier this week is an outcome
Honestly, I've wanted to
of
do
that.
that for ages.
Yeah.
In our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term.
Exactly. Yeah, they were losing money.
Stronger already.
There it is. They were losing money on the studio. It's that simple.
But that said, our commitment to having our own studios and
I am ready to put on a show.
games large and small. This is real power. Where you can play GTA, World, you can play Call of Duty, you can play Pentiment. That doesn't change. And frankly, our
Yeah, big mistake on that one, huh? Yeah, bad call. Because of like Starfield, you know? Because it was bad.
We do. It's actually been pretty fantastic. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check it out.
60 seconds left.
What? The Fallout TV show was on Amazon, and it's been great to see people fall in love with that universe, but also what's done for the game. People going back.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like the Fallout show being good, probably, I mean, I'm sure Xbox helped make it better, but Xbox was not the causal factor in the Fallout show being good.
Outside of that, there's some other great things.
Let's be honest.
Later this year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I was a big indie fan growing up. Looks like you're too. So you should check that out. But really right now for us and our teams, our focus is on the people impacted and doing everything that we can do to help them through this hard transition.
I think one of
the reality is that there's no answer that she could realistically give that would be a good answer. Like, that's really the truth, is that she's in a very bad position where it's like, she can't say, well, they weren't making any fucking money, so we got rid of them. We axed them. They're not making the games we think they should make, so we got rid of them. They're not making the new, what was the game that they were, like Phil Spencer was said that people were disappointed that the Hi-Fi Rush people weren't making? The Evil Within or something like that? Yeah, Evil Within 3. They didn't do that. They didn't bring home the bacon, and guess what happened? I disagree. She could have given a better answer. She could have touched more emotion more. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think she should have touched any more emotion, because the problem is that if she had used more emotion, then people would have just said that they were crocodile tears, or it's just an executive trying to make you feel sorry for them. That wouldn't have been any better. She did exactly what she did. This was the best possible outcome for the situation that she was in, and I'm sorry, it was garbage. It was. But it's like, listen, if you've got to make a cake and your ingredients are nails, cat shit, and paint, well, you're probably not going to make a good cake, are you? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's what happened here.
Is that, one of the Shuttered studios in particular just created a hit game, did really well on Game Pass and in terms of engagement and
Hi-Fi Rush, that's what she's talking about.
In that way for the future of our studio.
I mean, this is a W question. I mean, I'll tell you that for sure. Like,
Final 10 seconds.
Yeah, what a great interviewer. I mean, I love seeing questions that are really, kind of tough. Yeah, get in there. Yeah, exactly.
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
One of the things I really love about the game is creative art form, and it means that the situation and what successes for each game and studio is also really unique. Like, there's no one-size-fits-all.
So what she's saying is that their version of success publicly was not Microsoft's version of success. She's saying that it might have looked like it was successful, but behind the scenes and, like, on the balance sheet, it wasn't successful. I think that's what she's saying. Like, obviously, I could be wrong. Hey, I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. I feel like this is actually a pretty good answer. Like, in terms of it being revealing
To it for us.
Exactly. Yeah. See, that's what she's saying.
And so we look at each studio, each game team, and we look at a whole variety of factors when we're faced with sort of making decisions and trade-offs.
Yeah, that's the factor they're looking at right there.
Like that. But it all comes back to our long-term commitment to the games we create, the devices we build, the services, and ensuring that we're setting
The right
ourselves
heroes
up
could
to
make
be able to
all
deliver
the
on those
difference.
promises.
Talking
don't have
further
to be a
about
witch
growth,
to
one of
find
the
the
key
magic
focus
in
areas.
this world.
Yeah,
But it
I
does
think that's
help.
really what happened, is that the studios just didn't make enough money. And I'm actually surprised that we got so much of a direct answer. It's odd because I saw a discourse about this online. I didn't watch it, obviously, but I saw a discourse about it, and people were saying that she gave non-answers. I feel like this is the closest thing to an answer that we could have got. Like, realistically, from like a corporate perspective, this is the most direct answer that we could have possibly
I
received.
may be powered by chaos.
She's giving non-answers? No, she's not. She's saying that they were successful, but not based off of our metrics.
You'll be
The
coming in
metrics
30
fucked up.
seconds.
I
Stay
don't know if they
strong.
did or not. We don't. None of us know that. And stop buying studios.
In the time
I think
where
this
I
is
come
probably
from,
what happened.
I was
This
often
is my
hired
guess.
to deal with witches.
I don't know.
Then I am
I'm
thankful
guessing.
you are no longer in that reality.
I bet they released
At
Hi-Fi
times,
Rush,
so
and they
am I.
didn't make enough money to sustain
chaos
themselves for the
surrounded us,
development of the
and
next
all I
game.
want is to return
And the
home.
expectation, like
Oddly,
Microsoft
the
was like,
battle
all
starts
right,
inside.
if you want to do this, we're going to let you do this.
3,
And they did it, and it didn't
1.
succeed at the level they needed
You have
it
to
to
stop them from
keep the
securing the
studio
mission area.
sustainable until the next game never released. And so Microsoft cut them off. That's what I think happened, because that's what makes the
You're
most
not
sense.
going anywhere.
Like, Game Pass, well, it's all Game Pass. It's not all about Game Pass. So you need to think about this, like, so I guarantee you Microsoft has analytics. Microsoft probably has 50 different analytics that people that are being used on Game Pass to judge whether somebody is doing well or whether a user is, buying Game Pass or using Game Pass to play a certain game. Only 50. Yeah, 50 for individual users, right? The individual user, like, data points. So it's probably 50, maybe 100, maybe more, right? I'm not sure. So, like, the amount of people that are playing Hi-Fi Rush on Game Pass, they know what that number is. They know what that number is at any given time. They know what that number was. They know what that number was projected to be. They know where that number is going to be. They know they have a decent understanding of how many conversions and purchases of Game Pass was created by that number. Here, let me go ahead and show you something. For example,
Simply magical. This spot gives me a strange
so
feeling.
this is just an example. I want to just go ahead, pre-order. Okay, we look at this here. And okay, so whenever you click this button, Ubisoft has a tracker whenever you go on their website, and they are tracking your IP address of you deciding to sign up for Ubisoft Plus based off of this website address. And so every single online retailer does this. And they do it, like, I think I showed a picture of this recently. I guess it must have been deleted, but this is extremely common. So what they're doing is they're tracking basically like a flowchart of actions. And so the amount of actions that this game has that result in a purchase of Ubisoft Plus are then amortized over the lifetime value of a Ubisoft Plus customer and then factored into the value that that game is providing for the company. And why do I think this? Because would you do this? Hey, if you were running this company, would you do that? I would do that. Of course. You would need to do this. It's common sense. So of course they're fucking doing this. It's not even a question. Yeah, of course. So whenever they say it's on Game Pass, you don't understand what that means. They have the data for this. That's all I'm saying. Okay? All I'm saying.
For Xbox in terms of growth, and this is also one of the key bets in the Activision acquisition was mobile. What's the Xbox plan for future mobile gaming, and when can we finally see it?
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time since we announced the Activision acquisition. We completed in October, and the whole piece about that, a lot of why we did it was about that. And
well, that's actually not because of Activision. That's primarily because Activision Blizzard King. And King is the maker of Candy Crush. King is the real money maker there in terms of mobile. Obviously, you've got Hearthstone for Blizzard and Call of Duty Mobile, but it's really King that's making a lot of that money. And that's actually an acquisition that Activision Blizzard made in like 2000 and like 14, 15 ago.
We felt strongly that there has been an opportunity for there to be an experience on mobile that is centered around gamers. We talk a lot about how there's 3 billion gamers in the world. 2 of those billion play on mobile.
Well, and this is a problem that Facebook is running into too, is that Facebook is running out of people. So Facebook cannot continuously project consumer and user growth because at a certain point you reach what's referred to as market saturation. Well, what happens whenever you've saturated the whole world? Well, until we find aliens to use Facebook, you're not going to have year-over-year growth. That's it. And Microsoft is at the same point because Microsoft is a huge company. Like anybody that could, like basically, and you see this with Meta, they're actually taking initiatives to get people like on India online, to get people in other rural parts of the world online. Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg is doing that because he cares about those people? Maybe he does. Maybe he does, and this is a secondary effect. But the primary reason is because those users are now going to use his product so he can continue growing his company. He's planting a seed to harvest the fruit. It's not because he cares about the environment, it's because he wants to.
And half of those actually play on another device. But there isn't actually a gaming platform store experience that is centered around players and those who device where who you are, your library, your identity, your rewards.
Roblox. Opinion discarded. Opinion completely dismantled and destroyed. Roblox.
Travels with you versus being locked to a single ecosystem. And we recognize that opportunity for a long time.
Xbox ecosystem is locked to Xbox ecosystem.
Goodbye for now.
Like, it's not like you can play PlayStation games on Xbox. I think Steam is the closest thing to that, not Xbox. To be fair, I think that Steam is actually, Xbox is real firepower! Ethical and more consumer friendly than Sony is right now. And I don't even think it's close right now. And it's like, it's always really funny that like we talk about this, right? Because it's like, oh, so which one's more, Sony or Microsoft? And meanwhile, Nintendo is just like...
I'll admit, I enjoy that.
You know, that's it, because Nintendo's worse than both of them by a mile. But we don't ever talk about that.
Time, but we wanted to make sure that anything we built was really grounded in the play those mobile native games and the creators of them, and so being joined with a team that has real deep expertise but we are that now.
Yeah, and so that's again Activision to a lesser extent, King to a greater extent. I think that the reason why she's not talking about King directly is because it could seem like they're transitioning to mobile-focused games, and it could make them seem less serious in the eyes of more consumer-focused and like more gamer-focused markets. I think that's why they're not talking about it. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
And so in July, we are going to be launching our mobile store experience. We're going to start
jury,
by bringing
executioner!
our own portfolio.
Now, why does this happen? Why are they making their own mobile? So if you look right here, you'll see that the Google Play Store takes a 30% share of app revenue. So based off of this number, it makes me believe that actually this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft. In fact, it might even make entire dollars. And I would assume a lot of them.
I'm hunkering down.
So yeah, they isolate themselves for 30%. No, they're not going to isolate themselves. They're probably also going to offer it on the Google Play Store and then like slowly over time. Because I'm going to be honest here, I really don't like how the Google Play Store and the Apple Play Store, or like whatever it is, the Apple Store, for apps, I don't like how they have a dual monopoly on all smartphone apps. I think it's very consumer unfriendly, and I'm actually glad Microsoft is doing something about it. I think the more competitors in the space, the better. I wish there were more competitors in the gaming space besides Steam, but the truth is that no company besides Steam has...
This is real
firepower! Themselves to be worthy of our money. Epic Games is okay. It's all right. But like Steam is right. Go Games, yeah, maybe you're right. And I guess they have different games. I don't really use it, so I could be wrong about it.
Against the world. Use that. You're going to see games like Candy Crush show up in that experience. Games like Minecraft. And then we're going to extend that capability to partners. So that they can also take advantage of it and have a true cross-platform, gaming-centric mobile experience. We're going to start on the web.
Only 60 seconds
and we're doing that because that really allows us to...
By the way, this is a very smart decision for Microsoft to make, and I think this is a good idea for them to do this. This is very smart.
Have it be an experience that's accessible across all devices.
I think that they can pull it off.
No matter what,
I think so.
Of the policies of,
I'm not sure.
Closed ecosystem stores. And then we're going to extend from there. So I'm excited about it just because it's something that we wanted to do for a long time. We've heard gamers talking about it for a long time, and we're now at the point where we can take those steps.
And so in July when it launches, we at that point at the beginning see Candy Crush and Minecraft
You'll
in it,
need
or
a top-notch team to win this one.
It would have to be, right?
You'll see things roll out over time.
Do you know how many partners will be able to use it as well?
But it does help.
Our goal is to get partners using it shortly after launch. We really want to make sure we start and we scale using our own IP first. That allows us to make sure that the experience that we bring partners into really builds on all the quality and learning that we have.
It's cleaner for licensing. That's probably the real reason. But yeah, of course that makes sense.
Escape pod ready.
Another big discussion point in the Activision acquisition was cloud gaming and how big that market really was. When will we really see it gain traction? Is it gaining users?
There's no
finally
reason to
in
be afraid
particular
of my
regions and
magic.
scenarios? How is it?
30
I think
seconds
cloud
before you
gaming
attack.
is going to be the future. I do. I think so. Everybody's joking around about it, but I think that it will.
Always a pleasure to see you out here getting your hands
Google
dirty.
Stadia was just too early. I think in South America, right? But I'm not sure.
To be a witch to find the magic.
Cloud gaming, for those that don't know, I don't know if everyone here in the audience is familiar with it, is the ability to play a game natively from the cloud. So you don't need to actually have a piece of hardware in your home, and you can experience something that's AAA Xbox gaming on any device, regardless of the local compute that you have.
It's hard to explain this to somebody who doesn't know.
And we have been investing in that for some time because we really believe that opening up sort of these beautiful immersive experiences to more gamers is important for industry growth, for developers, and we know people want to play those games.
Well, it's also because this unlocks a new audience. Like, for example, in South America, China's mainly mobile. South America is a lot mobile too. But like in many places in the world that aren't like developed Western countries, there is a much lower rate of people that have like good gaming PCs to play these high quality games. So if they can nail cloud gaming down, at least for its playable, then you're going to be able to actually sell these games to that other audience. That's why these companies are trying to do it.
And we're seeing tremendous growth there. We have more demand than supply in that area. And you see us rolling out more capacity, introducing more options for people to jump in and play on the cloud.
And is it growing faster than the overall market? We were talking about the market itself is down. Where is cloud gaming?
It is growing faster than the overall market, really bringing in new players.
Help get that vehicle to its destination.
So it's an area where we're investing more and we're excited about.
Earlier this year,
It's hard for me to say that there's ever going to be a game like Valorant that could be played over cloud, right? Based off of like how fast you have to react to things and everything. But I think that maybe you could do it if you had the same tech that fighting games have with like input rollback. But I don't know. Like I'm not. I'm not sure. Okay, but I know games like Honkai Star Rail, you can do it for sure. Games like the Amazing Spider-Man. There's a lot of games that you can do it with pretty easily. Maybe in 10 years. Yeah. No, cloud gaming is something that will happen. It's just a matter of when.
Xbox announced for the first time that it was bringing a slate of Xbox-developed games to rival Sony PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. That obviously was a big change. It was a little bit unsettling for some of the Xbox hardware fans. How is it going so far? Do you have any data about how the games are doing? Do PlayStation gamers really want to play CFE?
You're not going anywhere.
It's early days. Yet, so I don't have specific data to share, but we are really encouraged by the reception of our games. And one thing that I think it's important to note
gives me a strange
is, as Xbox, we've been putting games on other platforms for a long time. Minecraft is available pretty much universally.
Tremble before fast!
Games on other platforms. The teams that Activision, Blizzard, games on other platforms. And so it's a decision we just make on a game-by-game basis as we move forward and continue to execute on our strategy.
I'm also a big fan of Microsoft doing this. I like the fact that you can play Microsoft games on PC as well as console. Like, for example, they could have made Halo Infinite console only. They didn't. And that was really great of them to do. That's why I said that, Microsoft in a lot of ways is the most consumer-friendly big publisher, more so than Sony.
At the same time, we talk about mobile, we talk about cloud, on the Xbox itself, heritage isn't console, and the energy around the console right now is a little challenged.
Aren't consoles loss leaders anyway? They lose money on console sales. That's my understanding. So like, what's the expectation of trying to force people into buying the console that they're losing money? I feel like this is a pretty stupid business model.
For long-term consumers, they're worried. They're worried about the release on other platforms. They're worried that may indicate that Xbox is refocusing its own hardware. What do you say to them? How do you make them feel?
Those are the Xbox bros on Twitter. This comes straight from Twitter Xbox bros. Starfield defenders.
Xbox is still for that.
Yeah, the worry that I see
with the Amazing Spider-Man!
There's a lot of just industry all up.
This is real!
Our fate isn't sealed yet. On engineering and building that next generation hardware experience that really taps into their needs.
Okay, so they're saying they don't give a fuck about Xbox and they think that I think what she's saying, this is what I think. I think she's saying they don't give a fuck about Xbox and they know that it's only a matter of time until this is irrelevant. To be honest with you, I think she's right. I think they're right. Like, there are so many things that are converging at the same time where, like, mobile games are cannibalizing the audience of console players. Cloud gaming is getting better, and the price of a console is still getting closer to the price of like an entry-level gaming PC that in some cases can do if not the same, if not more, than what the console is. Obviously, gaming PCs are still much more expensive at this time, but the price is going down. And I think that, yeah, I think they're totally right. It's only a matter of time. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. And you're seeing this too with, like, I know, like, there were some leaks about the new NVIDIA cards and everything, but I think that what we're going to see more of, especially in the next 5 years, and even more so in the next 10 years, is dramatic price reductions in different tools and different resources that, like, computers need. Like, price reductions and, like, because generally with, like, with a PC, most of your money goes into your graphics card and your processor. Everything else is, like, pretty cheap comparatively, right? And so as soon as they nail that down and they can make much cheaper products, then you're going to see gaming PCs directly cannibalize consoles.
Hey, Dee!
And I'm not saying that consoles are dead. I think that there's always going to be a place for consoles. But making that your business model, I think, is living on borrowed time.
I talked about this a little bit publicly a few months ago. I talked about how our focus is on delivering the biggest piece ever. And that's about really thinking through every aspect of what that hardware and what that experience delivers with the core gaming.
Yeah, I think what she's saying is that the Xbox is not what it should be. And I think that she's right. Like, I think the PlayStation is better than the Xbox in pretty much all ways. And on top of that, the Xbox serves no purpose. Like, for example, a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck, you can play on the go. For a Wii, you could get up and move your arms around. There's no, like, unique value that a Xbox provides.
It is about power and performance. That's absolutely part of it. But it's also about the ability to be able to play all of the games. I mean, you have people who've been playing on Xbox for decades and invested thousands and thousands of dollars and hours with us. And to be able to take all of those games with the hardware. So
this sounds a lot like they're going to try to do something with cloud gaming. That's what it sounds like. The tablet gaming? Well, that would be the same thing.
One of the decisions I made when I came in and became president of Xbox was to establish a team dedicated to that, to game preservation and ensuring that future generations...
Can Nintendo fucking hire those people? Did somebody send this to Nintendo? Holy shit.
Future iterations that you get to take those things with you forward.
Yeah.
You know, the next part of that is saying, okay, I get to bring those games with me. I'm investing in those games. I get an incredible high-performance experience on my console, but also continuing our commitment to make sure that gamers can bring their games with them wherever they want to play. That my Xbox library is something that can go with me and that I can enjoy with others. So our long-term commitment to cross-play is part of that, and our commitment to cross-progression and cloud saves, so you can pick up on one device and you can play on a...
What a great idea. Has anybody ever tried that before?
Escape pod ready.
Brilliant.
Opening escape pod.
Another is part of that.
Yeah.
And also our investments in cloud gaming, which you referenced earlier. A lot of those who use cloud gaming are people who own a console.
30 seconds
They're
before
just,
you attack.
they want to play it on another device and go somewhere else. So that's the second piece. And then the last piece is about Game Pass. We know our core users love Game Pass. Game Pass is a gaming subscription. You get a whole portfolio of games, but importantly, you get every single one of our games that we build day one in Game Pass. And the quality and the breadth of those games has only been going up over time, and you're going to see some...
I don't think that's true. I think we all know that's not true. She knows that's not true.
Will these madmen
Not really, though, right?
Isn't their play?
So, like, hopefully next year it'll be better. Yeah, hopefully next year it'll be better, because, like Halo Infinite was fucked, Redfall, like, I guess the only one that was coming Hi-Fi Rush, that came out that was like an Xbox, like, only game, this as far as I know. Like, let me think. Starfield was bad. I mean, Forza, yeah. Like, I don't know who plays Forza, right? I'm not sure.
I will be there to balance it.
They fired a company for it? Yeah, it's just... I think that this should be true. Like, what she's saying should be true, but it's not yet. And I think this year is probably... It's probably one of the worst years. Like, 2023 was probably the worst year for Xbox's reputation ever.
Get ready. Here come the
More
bad
really
guys.
big games going into Game Pass later this year from Activision across the whole slate. Across the whole slate.
Oh, they had a pretty bad one in like 2014.
And keeping that.
Besides that, yeah.
That is really special for Xbox. Right? It's essential for us.
A lot of the focus at this conference today has been AI, but AI for gamers
Come
is
get that
different. We
vehicle
talk
to
about
its
AI for the
destination.
enterprise, for healthcare. We're also AI will be important both to players and to
everywhere.
developers. And how
What do you mean?
investing against that.
Yeah. I didn't hear all the talk today, but I think we can all confidently say that we are right at the beginning of what AI means for us as a society.
Obviously.
And for businesses in general, and that's absolutely true in gaming as well.
Yeah, these fucking clowns on Twitter who think that if they get a viral tweet that gets 10,000 likes, the Xbox is going to cancel AI. Like, I'm sorry, but these people are in for a very, very bad awakening. Like, that's not happening. AI is going to be the future, and it's going to replace the majority of jobs that exist. And in a lot of cases, it will not replace your job, but it will make somebody else be able to do your job twice as fast, which means that the guy next to you gets replaced, and you're doing both your job and his job. That's where I think it's really going to come in.
And, you know, for us, we take our responsibility around AI as Microsoft very seriously, being really, really thoughtful about what we do. And as Xbox, you know, there's something really unique about being a gaming company that is part of a major AI company. And so all of our focus is about executioner gaming AI is really crafted in a way that delivers unique and delightful experiences to players, and adds real value to developers.
I'm gonna be honest, if they had just made Starfield with AI, it probably would have been better than if they had released it. Like, they should have just had that whole thing done by AI. It would have been funnier. She's saying nothing. Well, what she's saying is like, so she can't really answer this question entirely because around AI, there's like still a really big movement, especially inside of like the games industry, that's like super anti-AI because they view it as cannibalistic towards their careers, which they're right about. So like, she can't come out and say we're going to be using AI for everything because it's going to massively help us. But that's clearly what they're going to do.
Together,
everybody's going to do this. Microsoft isn't special every time.
So there's three things we look at that. The first is around developer velocity. How do we give developers tools to make it easier for them to realize their creations, to speed up iteration cycles, and also to make it easier for people who may not have in-depth training on game development?
Us against the world.
We know that with that, there's just going to be a huge proliferation of gaming content and options out there.
Well, this is already happening, right? And it started happening, I would say, like 3 years ago, because that's whenever a lot of the indie games now like started getting made, maybe 2 years ago, or like I'd say 2 to 4 years ago, somewhere around there. Who cares? But like, she's absolutely right. Think about how much easier Unreal 5 made it to make games. Like, you see new shitty games come out all the time, but they look amazing because they're made in Unreal 5. Yeah, this is going, and it's only going to become more and more true.
So that leads us very naturally to the next layer where we're investing a lot, which is around discovery and making sure that people can really match the game experience that we love, and that a whole range of creations can be discovered from the biggest games, but also from something novel and new that you may not have intuitively known to look for, but you're gonna love if you experience it. And then the last piece is around the actual experience in the game.
Yeah, their marketing probably could be better. She's right about that.
engagement, delight, you know, playing through and having a fun time, not getting stuck, all the things that come with that, so that you can get really the most out of the game experience. So we are early in this, as I said. You'll see us share things, and things will come out during the course of the year, but our focus just really continues to be on keeping player at the center, keeping the developer at the center, and how AI turns up in gaming.
Xbox President Sarah Bond, thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like this went about as good as it could have gone for her. I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't think there's anything that she could have said. There's nothing that she could have done that would have made the questions about, for example, you know, the Hi-Fi Rush studio and everything.
One of the
There's
things
nothing that she could have done that would have improved it. She just didn't have, like, there's no way. Yeah, it was very corpo speak. Well, yeah, of course, like, absolutely. No shit. Like, she's speaking for the corporation. Like, and also, I feel like Microsoft is under, like, a really big microscope right now. Because, obviously, like, the FTC lawsuit that they just went over, you've got everybody hating on them right now because of the studios they closed. They had one of the most embarrassing years of first-party launch games that I think any studio has ever had, ever. Let me think. What else besides that? Oh, AI. They've invested billions of dollars. Didn't they buy OpenAI? And, like, everybody hates AI, but everybody also knows it's the future. So you've got to, like, tread this imaginary line. Like, it's yeah. Xbox is constantly failing. Yeah, exactly.